Hello and welcome to COM320, the Healthcare Collaboration and Leadership course. This is the online course during the fall 2015. I'm really excited to be teaching this online. I've taught it on ground for several semesters now and excited to get to reach more of you through teaching it online. To start, I just wanted to do a quick introduction about myself and about the course and what we'll be doing during the course. And then each week you'll have a narrated PowerPoint which outlines the content for that week, the chapters that you are assigned to read, and then any important information that you might need to know about upcoming assignments will also be in those PowerPoints. So this is really important that you review these PowerPoints. I think it'll help you understand and engage with the content a lot better than just reading it from the book. So first, who am I? My name is Allison Kinney-Walker, and you can address me just by Allison is fine. If you prefer Professor or Dr. Kinney-Walker, that is fine too. I've worked here at Nebraska Methodist College for about 6 years, and this past year I took a new position as assistant faculty or assistant professor in arts and sciences, and as you can tell, I teach the leadership course. I also coordinate service learning and oversee the associate degree portfolio program. Before becoming a professor, I was the director of our Upward Bound program, and I also worked in the Center for Health Partnerships running a couple of other programs as well. On a personal side, I'm from Des Moines, Iowa, but lived here in Omaha for over a decade now, and so this is definitely home. I have a 2-year-old daughter. That's a little picture of her from a few months ago now. I also, my husband and I are expecting twins, and I am due in November, so this course will hopefully be completed by then before I have any early labor signs, hopefully. So just wanting to let you know a little bit about myself. I do love teaching and am excited about this course. So the purpose of the COM320, as you know, it's a requirement for graduation, and the reason that we have all students take it is, one, we want all of our NMC graduates to graduate with the skills and knowledge and capabilities of being a leader in the healthcare field. So during this course you will learn different leadership theories and concepts, and then we really focus on communication skills, because whether you're a leader or just working as a team in healthcare, it's really important that we have good communication skills. So we'll talk a lot about assertive communication, and then also talking about how to deal with conflict. So those are some of the main things that we'll talk about during this course. Most importantly, I hope you walk away with an understanding of yourself as a leader and what skills and strengths you bring, and also maybe some areas that you want to work on to become a better leader. Also, as you may have heard, this is a course that is very much involved with the Educated Citizen portfolio. Hopefully those words are not brand new to you. The portfolio is a graduation requirement that you should be working on during your entire time here at Nebraska Methodist College. And so during this course you will write 3 reflections which will be a part of your portfolio. I am going to explain that in the next couple of slides, but you will be required to submit at the end of this 5 weeks a portfolio that's up to date, which means it includes reflections from your first 3 years here at Nebraska Methodist College. And when I say 3 years, I know some of you have not been here for a full 3 years. You may be transfer students. And so what this is really looking at is your first semester or 2 when you are enrolled in critical reasoning rhetoric, your second semester or 2, which you'd normally be enrolled in if you're nursing 220, and then your 3rd year, which typically you're enrolled in COM320, which you're in right now. But you will be required to submit a total of 9 reflections, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So what is the portfolio? We are asking all graduates of Methodist to complete a developmental portfolio, which means you provide reflections about your experiences here at NMC in relationship to the 3 educated citizen goals, which are reflective individual, effective communicator, and change agent. Again, hopefully these words are not brand new to you. If you're not sure what those things mean, look in our syllabus, because on the second page of the syllabus I have the objectives for the course, and the objectives for this course are in exact alignment with with the objectives for those three educated citizen goals. So you will complete a portfolio. Ideally each year you're reflecting on this, but sometimes students get behind, and so it is in this course that you can play a little bit of catch up. Often students say, why do we have to do the portfolio? What's the purpose? Well, first, it is a graduation requirement, but more importantly, it is best practice in higher education to have students complete a portfolio, because the research shows that it's really important for students to not just go through their coursework, but to be reflective and to think about and reflect upon what they've learned, how they can apply what they've learned, how it impacts them, how it's meaningful, how it's going to change them as healthcare providers. And so although I know sometimes it just seems like extra work, it's really an important part of becoming a bachelor's degree student. So hopefully you come to see that or see some value in it as you work through it this semester. What does it look like, or what's included? When you graduate in your final semester here at Methodist, you will turn in a 3-ring binder, which will have to include at least 12 reflections. Also have a title page and a table of contents, and your 12 reflections will be made up of 1 reflection from each goal area for each year of your program. So what that would mean is for your first year or first level of the program, you would have 3. 1 reflective individual, 1 effective communicator, and 1 change agent, and so forth for each of the 3 years. You don't need to worry about year 4, of course, or level 4 at this point, because you will complete that during your capstone course in your 4th year of the program. And then you don't have to worry about year 3 either, because you will write those 3 reflections for a grade in this course. So really what you need to do is look back at your assignments and see if you have written portfolio reflections on any of those 3 goal areas: reflective individual, effective communicator, or change agent, for years 1 or 2. If you're in critical reasoning and rhetoric, most students are required to write those 3 reflections. You can look back and even on My Methodist and see what, or you can look at your past courses and you can see what you submitted for that course, so you can go back and look at those if you don't have them saved. Often students also write a portfolio reflection in their language and healthcare course, whether you took sign language or Spanish, so you can look at that. Also, in most of your clinical experiences, you're writing reflections after the clinical experience. That alone does not suffice as a reflection for the educated citizen unless you link it directly to one of the 3 educated citizen goals. However, you can use that same reflection and that same experience, but you will need to add on to it to make sure that it meets the requirements of educated citizen reflection, which I have included under the handouts in week 1. You'll see something that says portfolio requirements, first you'll see portfolio requirement overview, which just outlines what needs to be included from each year and each level. But you will also see a document that has a rubric by which I will grade all the reflections in this course, but also a step-by-step writing guide for how to write the reflections if you do need to play catch-up and write some reflections from year 1 and year 2. I also want to reiterate that the reflections do not need to be an academic experience here at Methodist. It can be something that happened in your work life, in your personal life, in extracurriculars, and something you're involved with in the community or the church. But it does need to have taken place while you are here as a student at Nebraska Methodist College. But again, it does not need to be something from one of your courses. So for this course, on September 13th, which is the last day of the course, you will need to have submitted an up-to-date portfolio, which includes 9 reflections. This should be turned in electronically. It can be turned in by hand, a physical copy in a 3-ring binder if you want to deliver that to the front desk at Nebraska Methodist College, but electronically is just fine. in one document would be preferred. Instead of sending me 9 separate documents, just copy and paste all your reflections into one document. Make sure you include a title page or a header on each of your reflections so I know what year or what level it's referring to and what goal. So it should, maybe first page would be Reflective Individual Year 1. Next reflection would be Effective Communicator Year 1, and so forth. There is an example of a completed up-to-date reflection with 9 reflections under handouts in week 1, so you can take a look at that as well. For the reflections, again, you'll have 3 reflections due for this course, but this same outline that you see here can be used for writing reflections from year 1 and year 2 if you need to go back to write a few of those. It's 500 to 700 words, which is just, max right around 2 pages, double spaced. And so it's not a really long, rigorous process to write these reflections. First, you're just going to pick a experience to describe, some experience that you've had, again, whether it be school related or outside of school, that is connected to one of the educated citizen goals. So an experience where you were a reflective individual, experience you were an effective communicator, or an experience where you were a change agent, or an experience where you witnessed someone being an effective communicator or change agent and how it impacted you. Or it could also be a time that maybe you weren't an effective communicator and you wish to improve in that area. Then you're going to do a self-evaluation. What rating do you give yourself as in that area? So are you just beginning as a reflective individual, or are you accomplished and you've really mastered this goal area? And then why? And then this is really important. We want you to describe what you learned from the experience and how it's going to impact you going forward. So not just, this is what I did, but what did I learn? And then lastly, we want you to incorporate what goals you have for yourself going forward. So maybe there was an area of being an effective communicator where you felt challenged, and so you want to work on that part of your communication skills. How are you going to do that? Like I said, there's the portfolio reflection rubric under week 1 handouts. And then I also will provide examples of strong reflection papers in each week that you have a reflection due. So in week 2, you have a reflective individual due. I'll put an example of you can go to week 2 and see that there's an example of reflective individual, just so you get a sense of how it's written, how it's structured. Before I move on, if you have any questions regarding portfolios, you feel completely lost, please feel free to send me an email. If you're in town, I'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one to go through your current papers to see what kind of fits and applies for the portfolio. If you're distant, definitely feel free to give me a call or email and we can work through it. We really want this to be helpful, and so that you're not in your final semester completely lost and unsure of what you should be doing to meet your graduation requirement. So now you've learned a little bit about me and the course. I would like to know a little bit more about you. So your first assignment is to post an introduction in the discussion board labeled Introduction. For this week, there are 2 discussion boards. Usually there'll just be 1, but one is an introduction, and you'll see in the discussion board that there's a list of questions I would like you to answer about yourself. And then the rest for this week, what you should be working on is reading the Northhouse chapters 1 through 6, reviewing this PowerPoint. So if you got to this point, you've already got that done. Then also reviewing the PowerPoint, narrated PowerPoint 1, which is over Northhouse chapters 1 through 6. You'll also submit the introduction discussion board and then also the Northhouse discussion board. Both of those discussion board posts are due on Thursday by midnight. Then for the introduction, you don't need to respond to those. You don't need to respond to any of your peers. But for the Northhouse discussion board, and just like you will for all subsequent weeks, you will respond to at least 2 classmates, asking them a question or furthering the conversation, not just I agree or great point. Read the syllabus for what I'm looking for in terms of the discussion board. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, uncertainties about the course, please feel free to send me an email, and I look forward to working with you guys this semester.